I just had
live streaming is on.
I just had my 2 little fixes that I put in there. Yeah, that I promised. And these are just like for the footer, like really minor. It took me 1 minute and I increased the number of projects. No need to share my screen for that. And in other news, yeah, I could not run the XDAI validator, so I was just talking to Griff if we can use the validator node. We don't know, so I will ask in Telegram.
Cool. Nice. I can go next, I guess.
Thanks.
So basically, for me, I'm not showing my screen, but the only updates I have really, I've been working on 2 things. The one is I've been working on saving the the value of donations with Matteo, and that's largely done. The only outstanding thing is this XDAI node, like an XDAI node, so we can go and get the prices from HoneySwap for whatever token was donated, so we can save that. And once we have that done, like there's some kind of outstanding question mark around getting the current price and showing the current value of what has been donated. That's kind of just like a bridge that I feel like we haven't really crossed yet because we just haven't quite got there. I think we have consensus on how we're going to do it, I believe. We can talk to Marco about that after, I guess, after the updates. But other than that, I've just been frustrated with deploying on Netlify right now. So Matteo and I have been trying to integrate our changes together on a server that we can both look at, and the server-side rendering is not working due to some peculiarity of Netlify, it seems, is my best guess right now. But essentially, I just need to keep pushing through this right now, and that's yeah. I think once this is done, it should be like pretty easy to integrate the XDAI node pricing, and I think once I'm through this hurdle, like a few hours, and my stuff will be finished. So overall, I feel like it's going to be next week before we realistically can do a launch, because I mean, at this point, like it could be later, like in a few hours before any testers get a look at things. And we managed to do some proper testing, and then there could be bug fixes, etc., etc. So I feel a little bit frustrated right now by this issue I'm facing, and that's my life story. Matteo, tell us the good news, brother.
Yeah, good news are as follows. With the same story that you mentioned, we were really happy to merge everything on Monday, but everything started exploding. The developed version started having problems. Some library that I added regarding the drop list of tokens had some issues with the version of emotion used by Gatsby. So to figure that out took me like 5 hours on Monday. That slowed me down for the rest of the stuff that I had to do. But yeah, at least that was solved. Yeah, besides the server-side render thing that it's having trouble with Netlify, and James is working on that, I finished some stuff that were missing, like showing the gas price instead of the network fee. I added it. Let me check. Yeah, the XDAI and ERC20 tokens, it's only missing the deflection of the price. It's only that. Some visual issues that were really minor, I also fixed them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, after we get these working, I think the testing can begin, and yeah, we can consider eventually if everything goes well, to make a launch, a proper launch. I don't have much to say. I think we can discuss a little bit more of what's going on, so James is not alone trying to fix this, and maybe we can have some ideas between everybody. And yeah, no, you don't have to think alone. That's what I try to say. After the updates, of course. This makes
Any other updates? Anyone? Okay, so yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like it could be anywhere between like half an hour and 10 hours to resolve this issue, but most likely, I guess, another couple hours or something like this. So it's working locally on my machine for me. It's just on Netlify, it's not working. I don't know what else I don't know what there is to discuss really, other than I don't know what the problem is right now exactly, and we'll know once it's fixed. And yeah, there's some bigger question marks that are coming up that, again, Netlify is really screwing us over. There's some other issues around the fact that Netlify could potentially end up getting super expensive. My opinion on that is that we are in development, like early development stage right now, and we're still figuring out, like, first of all, how to use it properly. We're doing a lot of building, like a lot of clearing of the cache, trying to debug this issue, for example, which requires more and more building. So I feel like there's some exceptional Netlify usage going on right now that once we're up and running smoothly, we will not have, basically. But ultimately, Netlify makes life super easy for us, like to get up and running with Jamstack, right? Like we just give it a GitHub repository and it just builds it and it just makes it go, like super cool. There is again and again some results of when the magic works is amazing, and then when the magic don't work, it's like, what the frick is going on, right? So like, I think that's where we're at right now. You know, I still think we end up saving a lot of time overall in the shortcuts it gives us, but there's some gotchas and catches like this, basically. So that's my feeling about it. Generally speaking, I'm like longer terms, like I'm happy to move off even Gatsby, like honestly, but I feel like maybe that's not a conversation for right now. If we want to move to Next.js or whatever, like let's talk about that after we get through all this shit, basically. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really feel like I want to talk about it too much unless you guys have some input or ideas or want to.
I have a question. Do you see the same error that I am seeing if I go to any route on dev.giveth.io? I get rendered all the content from Giveth and not the specified site. Do you?
Is that on dev.giveth.io? Is it? I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Dev. Let me show you. It's freaking weird. Look at that. If I go to the projects and check anywhere, let's say the Boyac Horseman one, and it renders Giveth, everyone.
Huh.
And that's what I was trying to say since yesterday, that is the same error that I'm getting on my local, and I was like, I don't know what's up. It's so weird. So it's even weirder if it's only happening to me. So anyone gets
I think it is only happening to you. Well, sorry, I can't say that. I can say, oh no, it's happening for me. All right, interesting. Okay. Okay. Do you know since when? Like I just did a build there a few minutes ago. Is that since this morning or yesterday? Or
No,
since...
yesterday I was trying hard to get this done, but failed miserably. So
yeah.
this was the last thing that showed up, and I gave up.
Okay, that would make me give up too. All right, so I can see that on dev.giveth.io, but on my local machine, everything is working perfectly. So I can have a look at that after this call, and maybe that's a clue. I don't know.
I think I have a fresher mind right now to get into it. I will try and see what's up, but I don't want to maybe mix up what you're doing also. Maybe you're making some changes that are related with this.
Yeah, I'm making no code changes right now. Like I'm just like flushing caches and like using the CLI tool and blah blah blah. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I think for this, like we just have to keep working on it and we'll figure it out basically.
Hey,
Yeah.
random thought, James. I mean, this probably has no application at all, but we ran into a similar issue with Heroku where it was like we added something and there was a lack of dependencies first for it, and it was just a stupid package version, and then everything worked. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had one of these yesterday with the package version dependency thing, right? Yeah, we keep it in mind. We keep it in mind. I mean, it could be, and like a bit, like yeah, we just have to keep debugging it. We'll keep that in mind also. Could be. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I feel like with this issue, I don't want to talk about it too much because it's just like I just
Yeah.
want to get into it. You know what I mean? Basically. So I don't know if there's anything else anyone else wants to discuss.
We can move on to the price thing about what to show and what not to show.
Cool. Well, we discussed this last week. You were not here, Marco, and Marco's wife's talking to him. All right, and he's back. Yeah, I feel like we've got some kind of consensus on this already. Like, I'll tell you my understanding of what we agree is that like when someone donates, we need to record that we are recording that value in both US dollars and in ETH in the database at the time of donation. And I believe we have a consensus that the big number at the top, like as per the designs, should show the current dollar value based on ETH. Is it?
Yes, on the current market price, exactly. And what we save or take a snapshot or save that intersection, like for each donation, that goes to the history. So when I go to a list of my donations, I should see how much I donated at the time in the like, and what it was like the ETH value at that time. But like the total donations, the total amount is based on the current market value of the ETH. But that's
Okay, so let's be clear. Like we're saying that like we will show the dollar amount, the current dollar value of the total donated amount of ETH.
Yeah.
Not the other way around, right?
What page is this though? Is this for the donor to see or the project to see?
I think it's public for everyone.
That
number is public.
There's 2 pages, right?
So okay. So the big number at the top for each project there's a total number of donations, dollar value based on the current market price of ETH, right? So the current market price of ETH. And then below that number, we have a list of donations, and each of that donation list is basically like a transaction history. So that shows the amount donated at that time when and at the market price of the at the time of donation.
Okay, so if for example I come and to Giveth I donate, let's say I don't know, like 1 honey or something like this. Now honey has got a price against ETH at the time I donated, right? But the thing is, like if we're making ETH like the root, saying like this is the amount, this is what is the our root, and we show the dollar value of the ETH, and do we translate the honey? Do we use the amount of ETH that the honey was worth at the time of donation, or do we use the amount of ETH that honey is worth at the time the user is looking at it to show up there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm thinking about it as the same way as I look at my portfolio, for example. Like, I see my portfolio current value is that value. But if I scroll down and see the, transaction history, I see the amount, dollar value at the time that I purchased something or sold something, whatever. So
But
I
guess I'm thinking like, okay, 2 months away, I was a project and I received this ETH. I sold it right when I got it. And then, but like, oh, ETH pumps to like $10,000, and my donation my project says I raised, you know, $15,000, and I'm like, well, actually, I only raised $2. Like, I don't know. Is that like a
Good point.
Is that a challenge?
Yeah, good point. And then another one which just came to my mind is actually, does that have any implications on, I don't know, maybe accounting or legal stuff, whatever, like, you know, showing that number? Like, as you said, like in this example, like, you know, ETH pumps and there's a huge number at the top, and someone, you know, has to provide records for their books or something, and here's the reference, and then like this doesn't match. So yeah, I guess
I think
I don't know.
like there's two parts there. I think first of all, it's like any kind of legal stuff or accounting, right? And the other, like, and this is the one I'm most concerned about with this, is making sure that no one gets confused or something, right? Even if it's the project owner to look at it and go like, well, I have all of these donations in ETH, but it doesn't even add up to the total. You know what I mean? And then like we can clearly say like this is the current market price or whatever. I think it's just a phenomenon of like whenever there's more than 2 currencies or coins involved, like I think the only way to do this is to really pick one root and one thing and say like this is the all-knowing, all-seeing thing to which everything is exactly. And I think like we can choose what that is. Like it could be ETH or it could be dollar. But I think if we don't pick one, we're going to have problems as soon as there's more than 2 different things we're trying to display, 2 different currencies.
And the thing is, there's no withdrawal. So people get the money in their wallet, and then they do whatever they want with it. Common Stack, you give us money, we yield from the fuck out of it. Multiply that shit. You know? Different people will do different things. Some people will just be like, oh my God, I'm going straight into Rye. I don't want any of this. So I don't know. I would advocate that we just forget all the complications and focus on dollar at the time of donation. And then however anyone manages their crypto nonprofit yield farming pools, like that's up to them.
Let me just check one thing. Okay. Yeah, we could add like the total funds raised, and maybe as Lauren suggested, at the time of donations. And okay.
And
yeah, just go against the dollar value at a time of donations.
I mean, we don't need to reach a final decision immediately. Like, if you want to think about it, we can all think about it obviously afterwards. On the last call, Marco, we did say that like, if we're tracking, the more we track like current value of things, as you say, like we get into the world of being a wallet.
Yeah,
and
I know.
In this world, it gets super complicated, right?
I know.
It's really so.
And for that reason, I would like to avoid it because yeah, we're just gonna end up being a portfolio tracker with all these tokens we're gonna be offering for people to donate with, and yeah, we should maybe avoid that thing. Yeah, just simplify it. Go with the dollar value for now.
I mean, we can change it later, right? Like I think like that's probably actually the easiest way, also, right, for us. I mean,
and I would also like to see how the donation table will reflect all different tokens. So once we get into that part of redesigning that, maybe we'll have more ideas how to display some further information to clarify the amounts or whatever, without going into the direction of becoming a portfolio or a wallet or something. Okay, cool. We're good. We can move on.
Cool. Any other business people?
Do we have some agenda topics that I want to go through, or?
We don't have an agenda, and we kept
That's
it
bad.
floating. Well, yeah, we got rid of the agenda because first we couldn't finish it, and now we're doing lots of the org in between the dev calls, so we don't have to do that anymore. But if there's a topic you want to talk about, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much time we have for other stuff. James, if you wanted to go to the Zen Hub, discuss some issues, and also I wasn't present on in the community core last Sunday if you discussed it, but there are topics we talked about on the governance call, which is verifying projects using the project statuses. And also projects curation on the homepage, upvoting, downvoting, hearts, something like that. Finding a simple solution to just hack it for the first phase, to somehow curate projects and get rid of those spammy ones.
Yeah.
I think it's an urgent topic we need to discuss and find like a super simple solution for that, so that we don't that we can launch still on time. So that's number one, and then the second one is give back implementation, but that can be postponed, this discussion, for another call. The first one is more priority for me.
Cool. All right. I would say, in my opinion, I wasn't on the governance call. Like, I don't know if you, I'll just say what I think. I mean, I think the most simple algorithm we can have is someone who's authorized to make a judgment call. That's not super awesome or anything, but I think like getting us out the door, that's probably the easiest, right? I mean, especially if it's if it's not something that like, yeah, I mean, that's it, right? Or we can have a vote, or whatever, right? Like, I mean, we can of course build a simple algorithm. No voting.
No,
it's like a game. We have a little shooty game.
No.
Okay. Otherwise, like, we can have a simple algorithm of like completeness, like ranking it by completeness, like Willie was pushing this before, like just keeping everything and just putting all that stuff at the bottom, all the crappy ones at the bottom, that's probably the easiest like development we can do. Does it have an image, for example?
Yeah. Okay. So if I understand correctly, what you're saying right now is like you can crawl through the project and see like if it has an image, if it has like, I don't know, maybe that amount of characters in the descriptions or whatever, we can push it up. That's like number one thing. And also we can figure out how do we sort them on the homepage, like recently added, and also since we have this liking, like hearts, maybe top voted. And also projects with most donations, or I don't know if that should be a criteria, but anyway, somehow to filter those up, and then the others at the bottom, and then we can have like a weekly. I mean, Griff also suggested we could have like a kind of party every week or every 2 weeks, whatever, where we just go through these projects and say like, oh, this one is crap, or we should contact the author and project owner, or we should remove this one, or whatever.
That was about something else.
Oh, that was about that was okay.
Close, but
that all sounds cool.
Anyway, I mean, something super simple so that it's not a lot of development effort for you guys. That's all.
Yeah, I think for me, what I would like to put in place that is future-proof and super simple is that we just sort each and every. The whole search results is sorted like by a priority number. Maybe it's between 0 and 1, saying 1 is incredible and 0 totally sucks. And then we have some kind of simple algorithm that like makes that number, up and down, right? And then we can figure out what that algorithm is in the future, like, and we can keep it super simple at the beginning. It can be super manual, for example, at the beginning.
I like the
suggestion. Can make it super complex, right?
That's beautiful. That's a really great idea.
Another simple idea that occurred to me is that like we just have a channel in Discord for the every time a new project is made, it creates a new post in there. Like that's not super hard to do, and then we could maybe make it so that it automatically creates a poll, and then people vote on it, and then after 3 days, like if it's yay, it stays, and if it's no, then it disappears. I don't know. That's getting complicated again, but it could be fun to build.
I think Discord bot for just for projects, whenever they're published, it's a good idea so that we get notified. I'm not hanging on the Giveth.io website and refreshing all the time, right? Yeah. So in Discord,
the whole Discord gets to see that, right? It's like, hey, look, new project. We don't have to make it something like, oh, this is for devs so we can watch. It's like, hey, everyone in Giveth Discord, look at this cool new thing, you know?
Totally. And then anyone can flag it and say like, I don't like this, and then it can get
And
interactive.
that's what I wanted to ask, is if there's a plan to have flags, because we have hearts, but we have, which is upvotes, but we don't have flags. I don't know, is a flag a thing?
Could be, yeah. I mean, I'm really not too sure. I don't know if Kai's there, but yeah. I mean, like, I guess we can add whatever we want, right? Like, we can do it
Sure.
this way. Yeah.
I mean, there's a few I want to flag, like sample test. You know, like I would like to flag that one. You know,
I really hope it wasn't me. I mean, it could have been.
it wasn't.
Yeah. Cool. So in terms of going live, like what's the minimum thing we need in place, right? Like we should probably have one party. I mean, maybe we just get the channel up. The channel exists, actually. I created the channel already. I was talking to Kai about this before. But we could just, you know, create a place, maybe a Slack channel for anyone to flag a project right now. And at some point, maybe during one of our meetings, a governance or community or a special meeting, we just go through a team of people and say, like, up for discussion, these ones need review now before we go live next week. And we can manually remove them for now, and then get this channel in place as we discussed, like with new projects going in there, going forward. Sorry, I'm communicating badly here.
No,
that's good. I would really like, yeah, let's do that immediately. Especially the report campaign for all users is a great idea, I think.
Yeah. Is there a way to communicate with the people who make projects, or not really? Like, if they log in, we can give them a pop-up box that says, "Hey guys, we took your project off because it said sample test and there was no picture of the script." You know, like, I hope that's okay.
Yeah. What were you testing? If you're testing us, it worked. Very good. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. I didn't think of that, like to have a pop-up for when the user logs in. We basically agreed at some point that we need users to give an email address before we allow them to create a project. And that is a requirement that slipped through the cracks, like it didn't get into GitHub. And like, I still think like that's something we should really, as soon as we have what we have done, what we're working on now done, like that could be a next thing really, that we can communicate with them and we can tell them these things. What Griff suggested is a really cool idea. I think it's maybe a little bit, well, if we do it on when they log in, maybe it's not so complicated, but yeah, it's probably a little bit more difficult to implement, I would say, but I like it also.
I was thinking more than emails, we should need something like notifications inside the application. So that message could pop up, and not only as an alert, but messaging from ourselves, or something that the user should explicitly know without even having an email. Because yeah, an email should not be an obligation, but a requirement. But yeah, it's optional. Should be optional in my opinion.
Okay. Well, that's something we should probably flesh out. Like, I mean, I think in my opinion, like an email helps us, like as Giveth, like overall basically. And if we want to make it a prerequisite for projects, then if it's a hoop they have to jump through, then they will have to jump through in order to use our platform. And I guess we need to decide together whether that's something that we should require or not. I thought we had agreed that we would, but maybe I got that wrong also.
I personally think collecting emails is a great idea. Verifying emails is another step, right? So some platforms require you to verify the email. Emails are always optional. asdf@gmail.com. Whoever has that is really getting spammed, you know?
Yep.
I use it all the time. If they don't verify, then it is an optional thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. That's true. Okay. I mean, like in terms of execution, like we actually have most of that code written already, like including confirmation of emails, because that existed already in the GraphQL server. So it's just a question of whether we want to require that, essentially. I feel like we should definitely make a GitHub issue with this, and we should just prioritize it, basically.
I'll make it right now.
Okay, cool. So what about what about the browser notifications that you said there, Matteo? Do you think that's easy to do?
Yeah, relatively. Depends on the design. So Marco, if you come up with some crazy idea about notifications, that should make it complicated. But in theory, making notifications is easy.
Right. There's like a default notification, right? So there wouldn't really be much design. Or are we thinking about something inside of the web
No,
app or something?
I was thinking the basic bell that you got new things to read, and you get a drop down with the stuff that you need to know. Hey, your project was taken down because it sucks, or whatever.
Yeah.
You got a new donation, for example. Those stuff are really cool. What can get complicated is to make them real time, because we haven't much made any implementation of that in the front end through subscriptions with GraphQL. So that could get messy, but in the basic sense of just showing a message, that should be easy, at least for this.
Mm. Yeah, for me, like the amount of work that involves a bit of work. Right? Okay, even
Definitely
without
not.
the notifications and things like this, like even just to display
Not
it,
in,
like with a
yeah,
bell.
not in MVP, please. Notifications,
Yeah.
I think, a critical thing, but please, not in MVP.
Cool. So the important question then is like, do we need to require the email address before we allow someone to add a project or not? Like, have we got a consensus on this?
Yes, because
Yes.
I'm always right and I say yes. It's really
Alright.
needed. Like, yeah, and maybe I changed my stance even on this, but it's, yeah, we see that we need a channel of communication. This has to go two ways, and therefore we need email.
I think
I also say yes, and I also think that like you're creating a project, you're raising funds, you know, it's not like I'm looking at a website or I want to read an article on New York Times and you ask me for an email address, like, you know, I'm actually creating a project. I'm serious about it. I want to start raising funds. Like, take my email address, like, here's my phone number, call me if anything's, you know, needed. So yes, email.
As a project, I want to receive notifications when I get money. I want that so bad. And as Giveth, I want to tell people that you got money. You've got money, you know? So I say hell yes on requirement, but no verification. asdf@gmail.com works just fine. Matteo, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. You convinced me. That's right.
cool. Sounds good. Yeah.
Should I assign someone to the email issue?
You can put it at the top of the backlog. Like, you can just drag it up. If it's put the milestone on it, the Giveth one to the future, sprint 1 with the rocket. And then the next available person will pick it up. Yay. Cool. All right, so we spoke about, like, we have a plan for the shitty projects, we have a plan for the emails, and then is there anything else, or should we talk about the next thing, Marco?
Wait, so what's the plan for shitty projects? We're just going to remove them manually?
I took the notes and I'm going to paste them in Discord. And you can then paste them in the GitHub issue, whatever you created.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you, Marco. There was the give back discussion upcoming in our near future.
Yes.
Like now.
If we want to talk about it on this call, or if it's too early, we don't have to. If there are other items that need to be talked about that are the priority, like going through the Zen Hub, maybe, then we can discuss give back.
I don't. Just to be clear, like, I don't necessarily want to go through the Zen board now, because essentially, like, most of that work should be done ahead of this call, and like the backlog should be ordered in terms of priority. And like, if anybody wants to flag an issue that needs to get in, like for next week, they're free to do that. But otherwise, the issues will be taken from the top of the backlog in Zen Hub, essentially. Just put in that making that more clear, basically. So I'm happy to talk about givebacks. I would love to, actually.
Okay. Honestly, okay, givebacks. The dream is that we would be able to. Okay. Prerequisite to givebacks, project verification. This is what Marco was talking about with the parties, where we have verification parties. So in the end, there's a lot of stuff around givebacks that become challenging. We don't have smart contract dev. We don't have, so we're not going to have any smart contracts involved. One of the things, the big problems that can arise is, number one, people take funds they already have, donate it to themselves, and generate free money. And, you know, most people won't do that, but some people will, some people who really need the money, and I feel for them. So, like, what we want to do to prevent that. And then the other option is they take donations that they receive on Giveth, and then, oh, look, money-making machine, right? So there's just these certain things that we have to say, that's not okay, you know? And we just need to tell them up front, like, here's the agreement. As a verified project on Giveth, you're not going to, like, recycle your money through this thing. So the dream is that we would, instead of just, like, people automatically getting givebacks, there would be a verification process, and they would give us some extra, like, they have their profile, which has a lot of, like, when you submit a project, there's a lot of data there, right? But we might ask them a few other questions, and mostly inform them not that they are not allowed to fraud us, and if they do, we will, like, not give them the givebacks, and that we're going to look at this every time we give givebacks, we're going to just do some analysis and look at this, and if you do screw us, you know, like, shame on you, and you're not getting givebacks. So this kind of agreement process, and I think the easiest way is a Google form or some kind of simple, like, data collection, and the idea would be that you apply to become a verified project, and then next round, like right before the round, we have a verification party, and everyone hangs out, and we look at all the cool projects that want to raise money. It could be really fun, and honestly, I can't. My mind would be blown if any non-serious project even requested verification. You know, like, just the act of asking for verification will probably stop most people from that. You know, and then we do the verification party. We approve probably everyone, and then they get givebacks. So we need some check mark that's like, this is a verified project. It gets givebacks. You know, maybe a little phrasing. Up to 75% of your donation can be matched with givebacks. And these things will pop up on verified projects and not pop up on unverified projects.
Cool. Can I just clarify something, and forgive me, because I think I wasn't there when the phrase give back was created, so I kind of just saw it appear, and then I read this doc that was linked to a couple of times. So I just want to make sure I understand clearly what it is. Is this like similar to what we spoke about before, where token holders can basically, we will decide which projects should receive some kind of like token in exchange, like that they should generate their give back as such. So if I give to them, then I get a token back again.
So givebacks are tax deductible donations without taxes and governments, and it's the end goal. The next step when we have a smart contract developer is to have so that people with give tokens can stake behind a project, right. And the longer they lock their tokens and the more tokens that are staked, the more givebacks the future donors will receive, and this person will be earning give tokens while they're staking and locking. Right?
Okay, gotcha.
But
all right.
MVP stage, any verified project gets can be accepted as a give back project, or a verified project that receives givebacks. Every project gets the same. There's no like decentralized curation other than centralized wall that we create. And every 2 weeks we look at all the donations that were given, and then if the idea would be that if that we'll say this much give token will be given this round, and then at the 2-week mark we look at the price of give tokens, how much that is, and if there's enough donations to give it all back, we only give up to 75% of the donation, because if you give more than 100%, then it's not a donation anymore, right? So you're buying give tokens. Congrats. No, that's not supposed to be a donation. So we cap it. If the give token, if we get so many donors, because Giveth is so fucking awesome, that it's the give tokens we allotted is not enough, then everyone gets the same percentage of give back based at the time of their donation, the USD wallet. The RAI value, no, the USD value at the time of their donation.
So it's divided equally amongst all people who donated, essentially. Basically.
Projects,
so
projects get nothing. It's all for donors.
Sorry, yeah, okay. So technically all we need is like a way to flag a project as being like turned on for like activating givebacks, right? And what else?
And we'd have verification parties. We need a type form. We need to display this idea and explain the concept, right? That when someone donates, they need to like know, hey, guess what? You're donating to a verified project. You're going to get up to 75% of all these things.
What is the type form for?
If a project wants to be verified.
Okay. And could we not just have like a button inside of their like control panel or something like this? I mean,
sure.
That doesn't seem too hard, I would say, and that would be nicer, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it should be probably part of the project creation process.
Right. Yeah.
Lauren raised her hand. No, you didn't. Okay.
Cool. Okay. So Marco, we just want to figure out like what's needed basically, and then what design is needed, and then when it's prioritized, right? Like, do we have some kind of timelines on this, like the order priority? Or
not this sprint. I would say this sprint, the goal is to finish the MVP walkthrough and like really analyze the give back theory and make each issue have acceptance criteria. That's what we just talked about in the sprint planning. So that like, because the Notion doc is pretty nice, but each bullet point needs like, this is what it looks like when it's done.
Yeah, that was my intention actually. MVP, Notion doc, turning that into like, there's an epic that I created, give back implementation, taking that Notion doc, turning that into issues for this epic. We definitely don't want to do this sprint, but next sprint, or when we have more time, maybe just organize a session, sit together, go through that Notion doc, create those issues together, figure out what are there any blockers, any constraints or whatever, resolve them immediately on the call, and like we're done. Hopefully, if we're productive.
So actually, Willie and I just scheduled to do this on Saturday, Marco, but you're not. There's no way.
Yeah, for me, it's no. Yeah, but I can jump in.
We can do that without you, I assume.
And I can like async jump into that and see where you're at. Maybe so like if you're going to be using the Notion doc, and then at the bottom of the Notion doc, create those quote issues that before creating it on GitHub. Like I don't know.
That's our plan was to finish to do that in the Notion doc and then transition it all to GitHub.
Great. Yeah, and I think that way we can all everybody on the team can look at that before we transition that into GitHub and raise any questions or anything before creating those issues. All right, sounds good for me.
Cool.
That's all. No topic agenda topics from my end anymore.
I'm good too.
I know that you mentioned that you did the labeling of the projects. that's done, right? Like saying it's the status of the project.
The status of the project is yes, that every in the database we have several possibilities for status. Yeah, and
Is
that's
that
documented. It's up.
visual integrated right now, or should I do that for MVP as well?
The status is in the database, and I think currently we just have two. We're using like I gave it like 5 or 6 numbers essentially, like to allow us to reject it, that we're waiting for something from them, or they canceled it themselves, or it's active, or it's whatever, right? So like the structure is in there, hidden in the database. They have all of this kind of stuff, but we're only using 2 of them right now, which is active and deactivated, basically. So structurally it's there, but visually we could add anything on top of that. I don't know if that's what you mean, or
So no, I was thinking about the removal of the current projects that are not cool to have right now, and we should just basically label them by the status. So if we deactivate one because it's not cool to have it there, we don't show it publicly, but the owner of the project can see it, and we just put a label in the project view mentioning deactivated. For now, I think that's like the quicker option we have to notice the user that created a project that is not being shown at the moment.
okay.
So
So
instead of removing a project completely, we just change the status and we make an assumption in the front end that says, hey, we're not showing it publicly, but you can see it because you made it.
okay, so you're saying that like if I like the person who creates a project, if we have manually deactivated it, that they are able to see that it's been deactivated in their
Yeah.
version. Right? Yeah, yeah. I think you're right. That's minimum, right? And then we can even just manually update it in the database, right? To make
Exactly.
it like this. Yeah. Cool. So will you create the issue for that?
Yeah, I can do it.
Sweet.
And maybe to close off one more thing. So I heard back from the XDAI team, POA network. They said it's a security risk because we would expose the RPC endpoint of our validator node and make whatever the validator node is doing therefore corruptible. So we should spin up a new one.
Cool. That's great. So quick note is like a few minutes to do that, right?
I was almost there. I just the credit card didn't work. Maybe Griff can get in touch with me for that.
Oh yeah, I love to.
If it's not working, I need an updated one anyway, probably. If Typeform or something else. It's a bit worrisome for me because it should work. It seems to be working on the other services. And
Is QuickNote a US company?
I don't know.
I think they're Eastern European. I believe.
It's a debit card that I give you. So sometimes for a small credit union. So sometimes it doesn't work internationally.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you another one.
Okay, cool. LLC. Sunny Isles, Florida.
Oh, it's Florida?
Yeah.
I mean, just an aside, I have this really cool random debit card that somebody manually looks at what I spend, and then I send them crypto beforehand, and they just sell the crypto at the moment. It's totally not a public service, but it's a sweet deal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, nice.
Cool. We should get we should get a card on now we have an address, right? With the SDG fund, we can get on. I mean, we always had an address, I guess, but now we have a bank account, so we could.
What about Monolith and these crypto.com? You know, these crypto-backed cards. There's at least 2 that.
What was the other one? Because I'm ordering. That's at the top of my list. I'm ordering new cards while I'm here in the States, and I have Crypto.com on my list. Revolut doesn't look like it's working for the US anymore.
I don't think Revolut's really what you want. I mean, I think it's custodial, but I hear a lot of hype about Monolith. But I applied, and there's a waiting list right now.
So I have Monolith.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you like it?
It's great, but one of the things is like you need to top up your card from your crypto wallet, and then the gas fees are enormous. And like that's like I literally like I wake up like at 4 a.m. in the morning and I look like, okay, is gas like 60 or 70 or something? And they still take like the highest rate because like that's the UX, your user experience. You just click on a button and it immediately goes into your card. Like, I don't know, I want to wait. Like there's no option to actually choose the gas limit or something like that. So like that's I don't know, downside for me. Yeah, but other than that, like works really fine. And like I can go to an ATM here in Croatia, and basically like with 0 fees, I found the perfect ATM that does that. Not every ATMs do that, but one I found. So like they don't take the conversion, nothing. Like I can just withdraw money, so that's fine.
Yeah. I know we have Bitcoin ATMs in San Jose and Costa Rica.
And hey,
I heard your question about whether we could do that with the SDG bank account, and Max is meeting with Brian at SDG today and tomorrow, so I'll shoot him a note and ask him to check in on that.
Well, for sure, we're not the only organization on SDG with that problem that we want to solve, like petty cash things. So it would be great. I want to recommend WireX because there is no, like, it's a full-on exchange. So you send your crypto there, and then it's in their exchange, and you don't have to pay any gas. So
nice.
They also have a card?
Yes.
Can you share the link, please?
WireX with an X app.com. I'll put it here in the GT. It's possible that it's only for European Union citizens, though. And
I really don't mind, though. I like just to keep things simple. Like I would much rather find a way for salaries to be automated than like server buying. So like let's don't worry about it, guys.
No, we are worrying about it, but thanks though. And I talked to that. I talked to Dani about that, and we talked in governance meeting in general about that, and we will revisit the theme next week. We said.
I'm just using that. I know Danny and I have a plan to work on that, but I would just using it as an example, please. The $9 on a credit card, even $200 on a credit card, it's really not.
I know, but it's because you rather everything that requires your manual interference is bad.
Yeah, and giving you all my credit card information is great.
Nice.
I mean, isn't it weird? We have to use a credit card to like spin up a node anyway. Surely there's someone taking crypto.
That's why the funds are insured right away. So I guess that is still the why.
Yeah,
it's like that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
All right, we're at the full hour almost. I do hope we talked about many things. I do hope those new issues got made. Let's see if we don't miss any. One thing I forgot, but I did it quietly on the side. I want to refactor. I want to look at this segment email hook and see if we can. I want to start using it for the contact form. Mm-hmm. And that's something robust. We could use it for other type of service emails as well.
Yeah,
report that back at the next meeting.
So I put it in the notes for the mandatory email for project owners in the Discord. So maybe if you create an issue and add that, we could also like collect those emails using that service that you mentioned instead of whatever HubSpot.
What I have to look at, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Cool.
GitHub is not loading for me. I can't look at the images.
All right. Great call, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a great